The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council on Centauri Prime soared like a cathedral to the stars. Its crystalline walls refracted starlight in blinding patterns, casting prismatic hues across the assembled dignitaries. 15 years had passed since humanity's first contact with the three major alien powers, the Zari, the Karak, and the Vex, and Earth had spent 5 arduous years negotiating full council membership. Tonight was to be their crowning achievement. Ambassador Elena Ruiz smoothed the front of her formal diplomatic uniform, trying to still the flutter of excitement in her chest. The navy blue fabric, trimmed with the gold insignia of Earth's United Nations, felt simultaneously too tight and too loose. Everything she had worked for, humanity's peaceful integration into the galactic community, hinged on tonight's ceremony. Still nervous, Colonel Malik Hassan appeared at her side, his dark eyes scanning the crystalline chamber with practiced precision. His security detail maintained discreet positions throughout the hall, though Elena knew he never truly relaxed in alien company. Excited, Elena corrected, offering him a smile. This treaty means protection, Malik, trade routes, technological exchange, cultural enrichment, and military obligations, he reminded her quietly. Don't forget what we're committing to. Elena sighed. Her old friend had always been skeptical of alien intentions, even after 15 years of increasingly warm relations. A veteran of colonial skirmishes, Hassan viewed the galaxy through the lens of potential threats rather than opportunities. But that was precisely why she valued his presence. Where she saw alliances, he spotted vulnerabilities, a necessary balance. Ambassador Ruiz, a melodic voice interrupted. Dr. Serena Kwan approached, her xenobiologist uniform adorned with the symbols of scientific exchange. The atmospheric readings near the treaty dais are showing some unusual fluctuations. She extended her tablet, displaying a series of wavelength patterns. Elena frowned. Is it concerning? Inconclusive, Dr. Kwan admitted. There's a faint signal picking up on nanomachine frequencies, but it might just be standard environmental controls. Her face brightened with characteristic curiosity. Perhaps it's a new Zari communication method. Their crystalline biology often interfaces with technology in ways we're still documenting. Hassan leaned in, studying the readings with narrowed eyes. Or it could be something less benign. Elena was about to chide his paranoia when she noticed his attention shift to the alien delegates across the chamber. Following his gaze, she observed the Zari ambassador, a crystalline entity that levitated a meter above the floor. Its faceted body normally emitted calm, rhythmic pulses of blue-white light. Tonight, however, the fluctuations seemed erratic, almost anxious. Look at the Korak delegation, Hassan murmured. The insectoid envoys, typically arranged in ceremonial patterns that reflected their hive-mind connectivity, stood in what appeared to be a defensive formation. Their chitinous exoskeletons gleamed under the hall's illumination, multifaceted eyes constantly scanning. And the Vex representative, Dr. Kwan added, indicating the energy-based creature whose normally stable plasma form flickered in and out of coherence. Elena felt a chill despite herself. It's a momentous occasion, she reasoned. Everyone's tense. The ceremonial chimes rang through the hall, signaling the beginning of the treaty signing. Elena took her position at the crystal dais, where the Treaty of Unity awaited. The document outlined Earth's commitments, limited military technology sharing in exchange for the protection of the Alliance. A fair trade, she had argued to skeptical officials back home. The galaxy was vast and dangerous. Humanity needed allies. As she grasped the crystalline signing stylus, a sudden power fluctuation rippled through the council hall. The protective shields dimmed momentarily, causing a collective gasp from the audience. Hassan's hand immediately went to his sidearm, but the alien delegates quickly assured everyone that such fluctuations were normal during significant energy events like treaty signings. A symbolic lowering of barriers, the Zari ambassador's translator intoned, its crystalline body pulsing with what appeared to be reassurance. But as Elena completed her signature, formally ratifying the Treaty of Unity, Colonel Hassan couldn't shake the growing sense of dread pooling in his stomach. Something about this ceremony felt wrong, like walking into a trap. The Treaty of Unity had been signed, broadcast galaxy-wide. Earth's formal acceptance into the Galactic Council was met with celebrations across human colonies. Elena found herself at the center of congratulatory speeches, gift exchanges, and diplomatic pleasantries. Humanity had finally secured its place among the stars. Colonel Hassan remained silent throughout the festivities, watching the alien bodyguards with unwavering attention. While others applauded each flowery speech, he counted exit routes and calculated response times. Away from the celebrations, Dr. Kwan had retreated to her temporary laboratory on Centauri Prime. The crystalline signing stylus, gifted to her by Elena as a scientific curiosity, sat under her molecular scanner. What she discovered sent ice through her veins. A microscopic cluster of nanomachines, dormant but complete, imprinted within the crystal matrix. "Computer, magnify section C4, she instructed, her heart racing as the hidden technology became clearer. The nanobots appeared benign, designed to remain inactive unless triggered by a specific frequency. But for what purpose? And why conceal them in a ceremonial object? 3 weeks after the treaty signing, Administrator Naya Patel's urgent transmission reached Earth Central from New Vega Colony, humanity's agricultural hub. Her holographic image flickered with barely contained panic. "The crops are dying," she reported. "Everything the Zari helped us enhance, all the genetically modified fields, they've gone from triple yields to ash overnight." Her voice broke. "We've analyzed the soil. The helper nanomachines the Zari provided for crop management have changed. They're degrading organic matter instead of nurturing it." Before Earth's leadership could fully process this alarming development, Captain Jalen Ross's emergency beacon activated from the Jupiter Titan transport route. His freighter, heavily damaged, limped into sensor range with its cargo holds breached and life support systems failing. "We were ambushed," Ross transmitted, his face bloodied on the view screen. "Ships bearing Korak emblems surrounded us without warning. Their attack pattern matched Council Defense Network configurations, like they knew exactly how to disable our systems." As interference threatened to cut the transmission, Ross managed one final message. "They're not acting alone. The energy signatures match authorized Council vessels." This wasn't rogue action. It was coordinated. Elena convened an emergency meeting in a secured chamber beneath the Earth Embassy on Centauri Prime. Colonel Hassan, Dr. Kwan, and Admiral Sophia Reyes, commander of Earth's Joint Fleet, gathered around a table whose privacy field hummed with counter-surveillance measures. "Show them," Elena instructed Dr. Kwan, her voice hollow. The xenobiologist activated a holographic display, revealing the nanomachine analysis, alongside Captain Ross's attack logs. The nanomachines found in the signing stylus match exactly those discovered in New Vega's soil, and both bear programming signatures consistent with Council technology. Admiral Reyes, a stern woman whose silver-streaked hair was pulled into a tight bun, studied the data. "If the Zari, Korak, and Vex have collaborated on this scale, we're facing a coordinated assault on multiple fronts." "But why?" Elena asked, struggling to reconcile years of diplomatic progress with this apparent betrayal. "We've done nothing to threaten them." "Our existence threatens them," Hassan said quietly. "Our expansion, our adaptability. Perhaps they fear what we might become." Admiral Reyes nodded grimly. "We need to verify the extent of this conspiracy immediately. Colonel, dispatch your best operatives to monitor alien-controlled infrastructure on Earth and across the colonies. Dr. Kwan, focus on decrypting that nanomachine firmware. We need to know how they're being reprogrammed. The Admiral's orders came not a moment too soon. Within hours, reports flooded in from multiple human outposts. Kepler 9 colony, humanity's furthest inhabited world, sent only a single transmission before going dark. Korak Hive fleets in system. Defense satellites neutralized. Help. The signal terminated mid-plea. At Europa outpost, Vex representatives who had been assisting with fusion research suddenly emitted concentrated energy bursts, causing a cascade reactor meltdown. As emergency protocols engaged, a chilling message spread across all human communications channels. Your genocide begins now. Most devastating was the assault on Earth's lunar outpost. Zari warships, previously considered allies, appeared without warning and unleashed crystal beam artillery that shattered orbital defenses. Thousands perished in the initial bombardment as fragments of the once peaceful settlement scattered across the lunar surface. Elena, watching real-time footage from Earth Central Command, felt physically ill. "Broadcast emergency code black," she ordered, her voice steady despite her trembling hands. "All human forces, stand down diplomatic protocols. Prepare for full-scale war. Activate Protocol Exodus." Admiral Reyes's order echoed through the secure command center beneath Geneva, buried 200 meters below Earth's diplomatic headquarters. This chamber had been constructed in secret, its very existence known only to those with the highest security clearance. "Evacuate all non-combatants to hidden star lanes," she continued, her voice carrying the weight of billions of lives. "Disconnect all alien-supplied systems immediately. Mobilize shadow fleets." The emergency protocols had been designed years earlier, not out of paranoia, but as insurance. Even as humanity had embraced galactic cooperation, a small cadre of military and political leaders had quietly prepared for the worst-case scenario. Now, that scenario had arrived. Colonel Hassan stood before Task Force Omega, a clandestine strike group composed of ships built with purely human technology. Hidden in a shipyard beneath Jupiter's cloud layers, these vessels bore no council registration, used no alien components, and employed weapon systems developed independently from shared technology. "Every simulation we've run indicated that this day might come," Hassan addressed the assembled commanders. "We hoped it never would. But hope is not a strategy." He activated a tactical display showing 3 primary targets. "Our objective is not merely defense but decisive counteroffensive. The aliens believe us vulnerable. They are mistaken." While Hassan prepared the military response, Dr. Kwan led a team of Earth's finest bioengineers and nanotechnologists in an underground facility on Mars. For 72 sleepless hours, they analyzed, reverse-engineered, and reprogrammed the captured nanomachines. "We've cracked their command protocols," Dr. Kwan announced, her voice hoarse from exhaustion. "The Zari machines were designed to integrate with our agricultural systems before converting to destroy mode. But we can use their own technology against them." The counter-nanites developed by Kwan's team were deployed to New Vega and other affected agricultural worlds via stealth drones. These microscopic defenders hunted and neutralized the alien-programmed machines, restoring viability to poisoned farmland and disrupting the Zari's biosabotage network. Simultaneously, Task Force Omega dispatched remote probes to infiltrate Korak Hive, Queen nodes, the central communication hubs that maintain the insectoid's collective consciousness. The probes injected a precisely calibrated sonic frequency that severed hive mind coherence, causing catastrophic confusion among the attacking Korak forces. Hundreds of drone ships drifted powerless as their queens collapsed into disoriented isolation. For the energy-based Vex, Dr. Kwan collaborated with VesperNet, Earth's most advanced artificial intelligence, to analyze energy signature vulnerabilities. The resulting electromagnetic pulse weapons, deployed by Hassan's strike teams, destabilized Vex energy clusters, forcing multiple envoys to collapse into inert plasma. These successes culminated in a decisive space battle over Centauri Prime's orbital ring. Admiral Reyes personally commanded the human dreadnought, Resolute, which emerged from hyperspace directly behind a Zari cruiser squadron. The aliens' crystalline shields, previously thought impenetrable, shattered under concentrated railgun fire, debris sparkling like diamond dust against the void. When a Korak hive fleet attempted to surround the Resolute, the human vessel unveiled new plasma disruptors that liquefied the insectoid's exoskeletal armor. The surviving Korak drones retreated in disarray, unable to coordinate without their queen's guidance. Most spectacular was the confrontation between the Vex mothership and Earth's AI-guided Metroplex defense grid. As the Vex weapon platforms charged their energy lances, Vesper Net calculated their precise resonance frequency and unleashed an omnidirectional EMP wave. The Vex craft flickered like dying light bulbs before disintegrating entirely. In the battle's aftermath, the full extent of humanity's hidden capabilities became clear. The aliens had grossly underestimated what humans could accomplish independently of shared technology. Earth's secret weapons research, unauthorized fleet construction, and contingency planning had created a force far more formidable than the Council believed possible. The final moments of the conflict brought an unexpected development. The three alien powers broadcast an emergency plea for ceasefire across all human channels. Their transmission showed devastating scenes: Zari crystal cities fracturing under targeted strikes, Korak hive complexes collapsing as queen nodes went offline, Vex energy cores flickering and dying. "We yield," came the collective message from what remained of the Council. "Spare our species." Elena Ruiz, watching the transmission in Earth Central Command, felt no triumph, only a hollow ache as she contemplated the magnitude of the choice before humanity. Self-defense had required decisive action, but what came next would define their civilization for generations. Would they choose mercy or total annihilation? 1 month after humanity's devastating counteroffensive, a transformed council chamber on Centauri Prime hosted a very different gathering. The once pristine crystalline walls stood cracked and dim, their fracture patterns reflecting the collapse of galactic order. Where ceremonial pleasantries had once flowed, now only tense silence prevailed. Elena Ruiz, Colonel Hassan, Dr. Kwan, Admiral Reyes, and President Amina Delgado represented Earth. Across from them sat the remnants of alien leadership, Zithal, the Zari admiral whose crystalline form now bore visible fissures, several disoriented Korak drones attempting to function without their queen's guidance, and a weakened Vex consort whose energy pattern fluctuated unstably. President Delgado nodded to Elena, who stepped forward with 3 data cases. The chamber's surveillance systems recorded her address for transmission across all inhabited worlds. "You attempted genocide against our species," Elena began, her voice echoing in the damaged hall. "You violated the Treaty of Unity before the ink had dried. You targeted civilian populations, agricultural worlds, and peaceful outposts." She opened the first case, activating a holographic display of weapon schematics. "These are human-designed improvements upon reverse-engineered alien technology. As you can see, we surpassed your capabilities years ago, but chose cooperation instead." The second case revealed vials containing biological samples. These bioweapons were specifically engineered to target Korak hive biology and Vex energy patterns. "We could have deployed them instantly across your territories. We chose restraint." The third case projected star charts with boundaries clearly marked 50 light-years beyond Earth in all directions. "This is the new human territorial claim. All alien populations within this sphere have 72 hours to evacuate. Failure to comply will be considered an act of war, one you cannot win." The Zari Admiral Zithal cradled her shattered crystal form, broadcasting a trembling plea to distant council members via telepathic frequencies. The humans, have weapons beyond our projections. Their countermeasures disabled our most advanced systems in hours, not years as predicted. Her fragmented message reached Zari outposts across multiple sectors, triggering panic and mass evacuation attempts. Some Zari evacuation ships, overloaded with refugees, attempted dangerous hyperjumps without proper calculations. Others were intercepted by human patrols that enforced strict compliance with designated evacuation routes. Crystal habitats that had stood for centuries were abandoned, their inhabitants taking only what they could carry. The Karak faced an even more desperate situation. Without functioning hive mind coordination, individual drones drifted between broken stations, attempting to gather around surviving hive cores. Their salvage transports, never designed for individual operation, performed erratically as they fled into uncharted sectors beyond human-claimed space. Centuries of collective knowledge fragmented as queen nodes failed to synchronize across vast distances. For the Vex, whose existence as energy beings required specialized containment fields, the evacuation proved most precarious. Their attempts to escape via hyperspace gates, now monitored by human forces, resulted in multiple Vex clusters collapsing into inert plasma when gate frequencies were disrupted. The few Vex who managed to slip through did so with only a fraction of their former energy cohesion, their once brilliant forms now dimmed to mere shadows. Even as alien populations fled, humanity faced its own massive relocation challenge. The emergency evacuation directive extended to human colonies that had harbored alien refugees or been established as joint settlements. All human citizens were ordered to relocate within the new 50-light-year perimeter, marking the end of integrated worlds and the beginning of an all-human sphere of influence. Standing on the observation deck of Earth Station 1, Elena watched the streams of transport ships coming and going, refugees, soldiers, and citizens caught in history's brutal reshuffling. The cost of survival had been immense, billions of lives disrupted or lost, entire civilizations fractured, countless worlds abandoned or claimed by force. In her private quarters that night, she recorded a journal entry. "We chose existence over mercy. Will this new era justify what we've done? Or will we become the very threat the Council once feared we might be?" 7 months after the Treaty of Unity had crumbled into war, President Delgado addressed the unified human worlds via holographic broadcast. Behind her stood the symbols of Earth and its colonies, now merged into a single emblem, the Terran Protectorate. "Today, we establish the doctrine that will ensure humanity's continued existence," she declared. "First, we enforce our sovereignty within 50 light-years of Sol, without exception or compromise. Second, all advanced technologies discovered will be studied, developed, and secured exclusively by human institutions. Third, any species seeking to breach this boundary for hostile or covert purposes will face immediate eradication." As she spoke, human terraforming ships appeared in orbit around Velix Prime, formerly a Vex colony world. Their massive engines began the process of atmospheric conversion, the first step toward transforming alien environments into new human habitats. The message was clear. Humanity would not merely defend its existing territories, but actively expand them. Ambassador Elena Ruiz, now serving as Earth's representative to the newly formed Terran Protectorate Council, reviewed settlement proposals in her office on Luna Base. Though publicly celebrated as a hero of human survival, privately, she found herself haunted by dreams of shattered crystal shards and dissolving nanomachines. Each night, the faces of alien refugees flickered through her subconscious, their fear mirroring what humanity had so narrowly escaped. In a secured meeting with regional governors, she articulated a carefully balanced position. "Our security requires vigilance, but our humanity demands we remember that preemptive ruthlessness carries its own dangers. We survived because we prepared for betrayal while hoping for peace. That dual perspective must guide us forward. Colonel Malik Hassan, promoted to commander of the Protectorate Defense Fleet, stood before a class of fresh recruits at the newly established Hegemony Academy on Mars. His uniform now bore the insignia of humanity's military renaissance, a closed fist surrounding a protective sphere. "The lesson of the betrayal is not that all aliens are enemies," he told the cadets, his voice carrying the weight of experience. "It's that trust without verification is suicide. Optimism without contingency is negligence." When the training day ended, he returned to his quarters and continued work on his personal memoir, titled The Paranoia Paradox, an examination of how suspicion had saved humanity while forever changing it. Dr. Serena Kwan, having witnessed both the destructive and defensive applications of nanomachine technology, established the Xenobiological Research Institute in what had once been a joint human-Zari science facility. Her mission combined genuine scientific curiosity with pragmatic security concerns, understanding alien life forms both for knowledge's sake and to guard against future threats. Her recent publication, Sentience and Predation: Did We Learn the Right Lesson?, had provoked controversy throughout human space. In it, she questioned whether humanity's military triumph had obscured deeper questions about cross-species communication and mutual misunderstanding. "Perhaps," she wrote. "Both sides feared the same outcome and reacted preemptively, creating the very catastrophe they sought to avoid." Admiral Sophia Reyes oversaw the construction of humanity's first purely human-designed flagship war vessels in orbit above Earth. These massive ships, incorporating lessons from the recent conflict, represented the cutting edge of human military technology, no longer derivative of alien designs, but uniquely adapted to human strategic thinking. At her insistence, each hull bore an inscription beneath the Protectorate emblem: "Never again." When asked by a subordinate whether the phrase referred to alien betrayal or human vulnerability, she replied simply, "Both. They are inseparable now." On a terraformed world that had once been a Karak nursery colony, children of mixed Earth descent planted the first Terran seedlings in reclaimed soil. Their parents watched with cautious optimism as the agricultural initiative, using only human-verified seeds and technology, took root in what would become New Ithaca Colony. Security drones patrolled overhead, a constant reminder that prosperity now required eternal vigilance. In orbit above this fledgling settlement, a silent Zari refugee ship drifted past a human patrol beacon. Inside its cramped quarters, survivors from once magnificent crystal cities peered out at the expanding human frontier. A lone Zari spoke quietly to his brood cluster. His words translated for the historical record: "We once believed we judged them too harshly. Now we see how wrong we were. They are not merely adaptable, they are implacable when threatened." Back on Earth's lunar base, Elena studied a monitor displaying an incoming transmission from an uncontacted region beyond the 50 light-year perimeter. The signal patterns suggested an intelligence unfamiliar with current communication protocols, perhaps a species that had never encountered the former Galactic Council. Her hand hovered over the response control as she contemplated humanity's first contact protocol under the new doctrine. The room's automated system reminded her of the standard opening message now broadcast to all unknown vessels. "This is human-protected space. Identify yourself and state your intentions. Failure to comply with approach restrictions will be considered hostile action. Evacuate now, or be prepared." As Elena authorized first contact procedures, she wondered which path this encounter would follow. Had humanity's trauma created a fortress mentality that would persist for generations? Or would the scars of betrayal eventually heal, allowing for cautious re-engagement with the wider galaxy? The answer would determine whether the Treaty of Unity's failure marked the end of an era, or the beginning of humanity's true legacy among the stars. A lone Zari crystal fragment drifted through space, carried by stellar winds far beyond human territory. Embedded within its lattice structure was a recording, a final testimony from Zathal, the Zari admiral who had witnessed humanity's transformation from eager allies to ruthless conquerors. "We miscalculated," the crystal whispered to the void. "The Council believed humans were dangerous because they expanded too rapidly, adapted too readily. We feared what they might become in a century and chose preemptive action." A pause in the recording. Then, "We should have feared what they already were beneath their diplomatic overtures. They anticipated betrayal, even while extending friendship. They built weapons while signing peace accords. They smiled while designing our extinction." The crystal tumbled end over end, eventually entering the gravitational influence of an uncharted system where another civilization was taking its first, tentative steps toward the stars. "If you encounter humans," the final message continued, "remember this: offer genuine peace or maintain absolute distance. There is no middle ground with a species that prepares for war, even in times of alliance. Evacuate at their first warning, or face elimination." The crystal's light dimmed as its power source finally failed, but not before its message had been received by curious sensors on the planet below. Another chapter in the galaxy's complex history had begun. On Earth, President Delgado stood before the memorial wall in Geneva, where the names of billions lost in the brief war were inscribed in flowing script. Citizens from across human space made pilgrimages here to touch the names of loved ones and contemplate the price of survival. "We will never know with certainty," she told the assembled dignitaries, "whether the alien alliance would have eventually accepted us as equals had we not discovered their betrayal. Perhaps, in some parallel reality, the Treaty of Unity fulfilled its promise." She placed her hand on the cool marble. "But, in this reality, we can only move forward with the knowledge that prepared vigilance is not paranoia. It is prerequisite for freedom." The Terran Protectorate continued its outward expansion, terraforming former alien worlds and establishing new colonies at a pace that would have alarmed the Galactic Council. Without alien restrictions on human development, technologies advanced rapidly. Ships grew faster, weapons more precise, and defense systems more impenetrable. Yet within this militarized society, voices like Dr. Kwan's maintained a counterbalance. Her institute not only studied alien biology, but preserved cultural artifacts and knowledge from the displaced civilizations. "We must understand what we replace," she argued before the Protectorate Council. "Otherwise, we risk destroying irreplaceable wonders in our haste to expand." Colonel Hassan's Special Reconnaissance Division maintained constant surveillance beyond the 50-light-year boundary. Their reports documented the painful reconstruction of Zari, Korak, and Vex societies in distant sectors. The three species, once allied against humanity, now blamed each other for the catastrophic miscalculation that had cost them their central worlds. "They pose no immediate threat," Hassan reported, "but history suggests that shared humiliation often creates stronger future alliances. We should expect them to eventually overcome their differences." Admiral Reyes, reviewing the intelligence, authorized the construction of advanced monitoring outposts at strategic points along the perimeter. "We don't seek further conflict," she declared to her officers, "but neither will we be caught unprepared again." For Elena Ruiz, the greatest challenge came not from external threats, but from within human society itself. Some colonies, feeling secure in humanity's military dominance, began advocating for relaxed security protocols and renewed alien contact. Others demanded even more aggressive expansion, arguing that only by controlling the entire quadrant could humanity ensure its permanent safety. Navigating between these extremes, Elena worked to craft a doctrine that balanced legitimate security needs with the values that made humanity worth defending. "If we abandon all that defines us in the name of survival," she told the Protectorate Assembly, "then we have not truly survived at all." On the 5th anniversary of the brief war's end, A memorial ceremony on Centauri Prime, now a human military headquarters, brought together the architects of humanity's survival. Elena, Hassan, Dr. Kwan, Admiral Reyes, and President Delgado stood in the rebuilt council chamber where the fateful treaty had once been signed. 5 years ago, we faced extinction. President Delgado addressed the assembled leaders. Today, we stand stronger than ever before. Our perimeter is secure. Our colonies thrive. Our technology advances without constraint. She activated a holographic display showing humanity's expanding sphere. Yet our greatest achievement is not measured in territory claimed or ships built, but in the resilience of our shared humanity, despite all we've endured. As formal speeches concluded, Elena found herself alone with Colonel Hassan on a balcony overlooking the transformed city below. Humans moved purposefully where alien delegations had once gathered, the architecture renovated to accommodate Earth's standard gravity and atmosphere. "Do you ever wonder," she asked quietly, "if we overreacted? If a more measured response might have been possible?" Hassan considered the question carefully. "I wonder if we had any real choice, given what we knew at the time." He gestured toward the stars. "But I also wonder what we've set in motion. The galaxy now sees us as the aggressors. Future generations will inherit that legacy." Elena nodded, her gaze fixed on a distant point where the city lights faded into darkness. "That's why what we do next matters more than what we've already done. The evacuation order defined our response to betrayal. How we proceed from here will define who we truly are." As if in answer to her reflection, an alert chimed on Hassan's communicator. A new species had been detected approaching the perimeter. Their technology, unlike any previously encountered, initial scans suggested a peaceful expedition rather than military force. "Shall we issue the standard warning?" Hassan asked, his finger hovering over the protocol authorization. Elena paused, weighing 15 years of first contact experience against 5 years of enforced isolation. "Send the warning," she finally decided. "But also prepare a second message, an invitation to neutral space dialogue, if they respect our boundaries." She straightened her diplomatic uniform, its design now incorporating both peaceful and military symbolism. "Let's see if we can balance vigilance with opportunity." As the communications officer composed both messages, Elena and Hassan returned to the ceremonial hall, where Dr. Kwan was presenting her latest research on interspecies communication barriers. "The brief war might have been as much about misunderstanding as malice," Dr. Kwan explained, displaying comparative brain scans of humans, Zari, Korak, and Vex. "These neural patterns suggest fundamentally different cognitive processes. What we perceived as deception might have been their version of diplomatic caution." Admiral Reyes frowned. "That doesn't explain coordinated attacks on civilian targets." "No," Dr. Kwan acknowledged, "but it might explain how we reached that point. If we meet new species, understanding these differences could prevent similar escalations." President Delgado nodded thoughtfully. "A balance. Then, we maintain our defenses while improving our comprehension." She turned to Elena. "Ambassador Ruiz, I believe you have the most challenging assignment of all, developing protocols that protect us without isolating us forever." As the discussion continued, a technician interrupted with urgent news. The approaching aliens had received humanity's warning and responded not with retreat, but with a simple message. "We come in peace, with knowledge of your recent history. We propose dialogue at your designated coordinates. We will comply with all security measures." Elena exchanged glances with her colleagues, the team that had witnessed both the hope of unity and the necessity of decisive action. Whatever came next would be navigated together, with eyes wide open to both possibility and peril. "Prepare the neutral space station," she instructed. "Full security protocols, but also full diplomatic amenities." To her friends, she added softly. We survived betrayal. Now, let's see if we remember how to forge genuine peace. As humanity stood at this new crossroads, the stars themselves seemed to watch in silent judgment. The galaxy had witnessed their transformation from eager newcomers to formidable power. What would they become next? Perpetual isolationists? Expansionist conquerors? Or pioneers of a more genuine understanding between truly different minds? The answer would unfold in encounters yet to come, shaped by the hard-earned wisdom of those who had issued the final warning and lived to contemplate its aftermath. On a distant world beyond human space, a new council formed among refugee species. Representatives of Zari, Korak, and Vex, once bitter enemies in the aftermath of their failed assault, now united in shared caution. Their first resolution acknowledged a harsh truth. Humanity's boundaries must be respected absolutely. Their second resolution looked inward, recognizing that fear of human potential had driven them to the very aggression they had professed to prevent. Perhaps, in time, a new approach might be possible, one based on genuine coexistence rather than preemptive dominance. For now, they would rebuild, remember, and watch from a safe distance as humanity decided what kind of power it would ultimately become. The stars continued their eternal dance, indifferent to the civilizations that rose and fell beneath their light. The galaxy was vast enough for many stories to unfold simultaneously, tales of caution and courage, isolation and connection, conflict and reconciliation. Humanity's chapter had taken an unexpected turn, but the narrative of life among the stars continued, with endings that became beginnings in the endless cycle of cosmic history.